Do you ever feel like the world has started moving too fast, and somehow it left you behind? Like your voice isn't as loud, your name isn't called as often, and the spaces you used to fill have grown quiet. It's not that anyone said you don't matter, but sometimes the silence says it for them. This video is for you, the one who's lived through decades of love, loss, change, and growth. The one who's been strong for others, who's built a life, who's learned things. That only time can teach, and yet somehow you've started to feel invisible. But here's the truth, you still matter more than ever. Your presence carries a weight, a calm, a wisdom that this fast world desperately needs, even if it doesn't always stop to ask for it. So today, we're going to slow things down. We're going to talk soul to soul about value, visibility, and the quiet power of simply being here. Stay with me. You are still becoming. Let's start with a quiet truth. Most of your greatest contributions in life were never loud. They weren't posted online. They weren't framed on a wall. They didn't come with applause. They were quiet acts of showing up. You listened when no one else had the patience. You forgave when it would have been easier to walk away. You held your family together through seasons of grief, stress, and change. You worked hard without needing to be seen, and you loved people in ways that only now, years later, they're starting to understand. But here's the thing about quiet contributions. In a noisy world, they're easy to overlook. And when they get overlooked long enough, you start to wonder if they were ever worth anything at all. This is where so many elders begin to fade, not physically, but emotionally. You're still here, still breathing, still present, but you begin to feel like your story has already been told, like the chapters ahead are just quiet footnotes to the pages that mattered. But I'm here to remind you, that's not true. You are not a relic. You're not the used-to-be person. You are still becoming. You are still shaping the world, maybe more than you know. Let me explain. There's a quiet influence that elders carry, and it's not through advice or authority. It's through presence. When a younger person walks into a room and sees someone who has lived through what they're afraid of, heartbreak, illness, loss, uncertainty, and they see that person still standing, still breathing, still kind, something changes in them. They feel steadier. You give people hope simply by being. Think about that. Not because of what you do, but because of what you've survived and how you've stayed human through it. You teach resilience not by talking about it, but by living it, by waking up on hard mornings, by sitting through grief without rushing it away, by loving even when you've been hurt. That is wisdom the world doesn't even know how to ask for. You don't have to write a book, give a speech, or be a headline to be meaningful. Sometimes you just have to be the one who's still here. With a soft gaze, a weathered voice, a steady presence, you might think the world has stopped listening, but many are quietly watching you, how you carry yourself, how you navigate change, how you treat others even now. And those small things, they echo. That cup of tea shared with a grandchild. That story told for the 5th time, with love. That pause before speaking, to offer patience instead of judgment. You are a lighthouse. You don't have to chase ships. You just have to keep shining. So don't let the fast pace of the world fool you into thinking you've been left behind. The truth is, we need you more than ever. Not to move faster, not to be louder, but to be exactly who you are. Steady, kind, real, and still here. Once heard someone say, elders are the memory of the world. You hold the stories that haven't been written down. You remember the world before it changed, and you carry the wisdom of what should never change. Your presence reminds us what matters when everything else feels too loud. So even when you feel invisible, remember, your life leaves ripples every day. You stay gentle in a hard world. Every moment you choose kindness over complaint. Every time you let someone feel heard, you're shaping the future in ways that numbers and trends will never show. You still matter. You always did. You always will. You're still needed, even if no one says it. Let's talk about the ache that most people don't name. It's not physical. It's not a sharp pain or a diagnosis. It's quieter than that. It's the ache of feeling like you're no longer needed. You've spent most of your life being relied on, as a provider, a parent, a partner, a caretaker, a helper. And then one day, slowly, those roles begin to fall away. The kids grow up, work ends, people stop calling for advice, and no one seems to ask what you think anymore. You become the one who listens, but who is rarely asked to speak, the one who shows up but isn't missed when you're not there. You might be surrounded by people who love you, but you still feel like you're on the outside of your own life, and that right there, that quiet ache, is something so many elders live with, in silence. Here's what I want to say to you. Just because your role has changed doesn't mean your value has. You are not valuable because you are useful. You are valuable because you are you. Your wisdom doesn't expire. Your kindness doesn't age out. Your presence still changes the temperature in a room. Think about that. You walk into a space and suddenly things feel more grounded. People feel a little safer. Time seems to slow down a bit. That's not nothing. That's legacy. But here's the hard part. In this world, if you're not producing or performing, it's easy to feel invisible. And so we get quiet. We stop offering. We stop asking. We start to believe that no one wants what we carry anymore. But the truth is, we've just forgotten how to offer it. Because when your whole life has been about giving in the form of doing, it's hard to believe that your being is enough. Let me say it clearly. You don't have to earn your place. You already belong. Even if you're not fixing anything, running anything, or taking care of anyone, you are still allowed to be here, to take up space, to rest in the company of others and be known. You still carry the medicine of your presence, and sometimes that's exactly what the world around you needs most. Your calm, your slowness, your way of listening without interrupting, your deep memory of how things used to be and what they could be again. The truth is, people might not always say it, but they feel it when you're near. That sense of rootedness, that reminder that not everything is fleeting, that something, someone can last. You may not be called upon like before, but your presence still offers something no one else can replicate, not because of what you do, but because of who you've become through all that you've lived. And if there's something still inside you, a story, a lesson, a little strength, a piece of humor, don't keep it quiet. It's needed. Speak, share, reach out, not because you have to prove anything, but because the world still needs to be touched by who you are, even if it's just one person, even if it's just one conversation. It's enough, because the truth is you're still needed, even if no one says it out loud, especially then. The bridge back to belonging. Let's talk about something we all crave, even if we rarely admit it. It's not money, it's not success, it's not recognition, it's connection. The simple feeling of being seen, of being known, of feeling like our presence matters to someone, anyone. As we grow older, many things change. Our bodies slow down, our schedules open up, our circles get smaller, and often, without meaning to, we start to drift, away from people, away from places, away from the parts of life that used to make us feel alive. It happens so slowly we hardly notice it. One lunch missed, one phone call not returned, one quiet evening that turns into many. And then one day we realize we're lonely. Not because no one loves us, but because we've forgotten how to be with others. Loneliness in later life doesn't always look like sadness. Sometimes it just looks like silence, like watching the world go by through a window, like not wanting to bother anyone, like feeling tired, not just physically, but socially. And here's what I want you to know. You were never meant to carry life alone, not at 30, not at 60, not now. The need for connection doesn't fade with age. It deepens. Because now more than ever you have things to share. You have stories, laughter, memories, perspective, and time, the rarest gift of all. You have more to give now than you did when you were younger. It just might look different. Maybe it's not advice or help with a task. Maybe it's simply being with someone, sitting together, listening without rushing, offering a smile that says, "I see you, you matter." But I also know it's not always easy. Asking someone to visit, reaching out to reconnect, admitting you've been feeling distant. It can feel awkward, vulnerable, even scary. But here's the truth. Connection doesn't require perfection. It just requires presence, and it often starts with something small. A simple hello, an invitation for tea, a short walk with a neighbor, a shared memory, a handwritten note. These are not small things. They are lifelines. The world is full of people who are just as hungry for connection as you are, but no one wants to go first. So maybe you can be the one who remembers birthdays, the one who calls just because, the one who notices. Because connection isn't always about talking. Sometimes it's about sitting beside someone in the quiet and saying with your presence, "I'm here. You're not alone." Let's not underestimate what that means, because when we reach out, we also reach in. We begin to heal the parts of ourselves that felt forgotten. We remember who we are when we are with others. And we give others permission to remember who they are too. So if you've been feeling alone, let this be your reminder. You are not too old to be connected. You are not too far gone to be loved. You are not invisible. Even if the world sometimes forgets to look, you are still worthy of friendship, of company, of love, exactly as you are right now. And the bridge to that connection, it can be built with something as simple as showing up. You're not too old to dream. Let's talk about something that gets quieter with age, but never truly disappears. Your dreams, not the kind you have while you sleep, but the ones you used to carry in your heart, the ideas, the passions, the what-ifs. As we grow older, we're told, sometimes gently, sometimes bluntly, to let them go. To act our age, to be realistic, to settle. And so many of us do. We stop painting, stop learning, stop traveling, stop hoping. We convince ourselves that dreaming is for the young, that we've had our turn. But here's the truth. I want to whisper back into your life. It's never too late to want something more. I don't mean chasing some wild fantasy. I mean the quiet kind of desire. The dream to feel useful again. The dream to learn something new. To go somewhere you've never been. To reconnect with an old part of yourself that you buried under decades of responsibility. You are not too old to grow. Not too old to imagine. Not too old to become. Age is not a full stop. It's a comma. A pause in the sentence where you decide how the rest of the story will go. Think of how much life you've already lived, and how much wisdom it took to survive it. Why stop now? The world needs elders who still believe in what's possible. Not just for others, but for themselves. Because when you show people that life doesn't end when the calendar says so, you free them from that same trap. You become proof that hope isn't naive, that growth isn't reserved for the young. That inspiration doesn't have an expiration date. Maybe your dream is small, to take up gardening again, to start writing, to cook something new, to finally join that local group you've always been curious about. Or maybe it's deeper. To make peace with someone, to tell your story, to forgive yourself. Whatever it is, it matters. Because dreams don't have to be big to be brave. They don't need applause. They just need space. So make some space. Let your heart speak again, even in a whisper. Let curiosity come back, even quietly. Let yourself want, even just a little. You've spent your whole life giving. Now let yourself reach. Reach for something that stirs your soul. Even if no one else sees it, you owe it to yourself. To the younger version of you who once believed in magic, and to the older version of you who knows the cost of silence, you don't need to prove anything. You just need to be honest. What's still calling your name? Because that voice, that whisper, it's not foolish. It's your soul remembering who it is, and it's not done yet. Some people might laugh at the idea of chasing dreams in their 70s, 80s, or beyond, but those people have forgotten something vital, that the soul doesn't age the same way the body does. It still longs. It still aches. It still lights up when something feels meaningful. And that spark inside of you, it's still real. It might have been buried under years of caregiving, bills, losses, expectations, but it's still there. The spark doesn't disappear. It waits for you to say yes. Again. Yes to the thing you said you'd try someday. Yes to the joy you thought you had to outgrow. Yes to the version of yourself you haven't met yet, because life hasn't given you space to meet them. So here's a quiet invitation. Let yourself imagine again. Take a pen and write down one thing you've always wanted to do, just one. Don't edit, don't explain it away, don't say I'm too old. Just write it then. Do something, anything toward that one thing, even if it's just buying a book, calling someone, asking a question, walking down a new street, signing up for something. Your dream might not need much to start breathing again. Sometimes all it needs is your permission, because maybe, just maybe, the second half of life isn't about slowing down. It's about finally coming home to yourself. And that's a dream worth waking up to. You are not your regrets. Let's talk about something no one wants to talk about. Regret. It's not loud. It doesn't shout. It sits quietly in the back of your mind, but never truly leaves. Sometimes it comes as a memory, a choice not made, a word not said, a relationship not healed, a life that in some way you wish you had lived differently. Regret is one of the heaviest things a person can carry, and as we age, it becomes harder to ignore. Why? Because we finally have time to think, to reflect, to revisit moments we rushed through or tried to forget. And while wisdom grows with age, so does the ability to see where we might have gone wrong. But let me tell you something no one else may have said. You are not the sum of your regrets. You are not just your mistakes, not just your missed chances, not just the things you wish you'd done better. You are the person who made it through, who kept going, who showed up, even when you didn't know how, and that counts for something. That counts for a lot. Here's the thing. Everyone has regrets. Everyone has moments they wish they could rewrite. But regret doesn't mean your story is broken. It just means you're human. The question is, what do you do with that regret now? Do you let it sit and rot inside you, or do you turn it into something else? Because regret, when faced with compassion, can become a powerful guide. It can soften you, make you gentler with others, more forgiving, more present. It can help you become the person you once needed, for someone else, and maybe even for yourself. Maybe the apology you never gave, you can give now. Maybe the dream you gave up on and you can pick back up. Maybe the person you hurt, you can reach out to. And if they're no longer here, you can still speak to them. In your heart, in your journal, in a prayer. Because healing doesn't require perfect endings. It just needs honesty and courage. You are not too old to make peace with your past. You are not too late to become the kind of person you can be proud of. And if no one has told you this, let me be the one to say, you are allowed to forgive yourself for what you didn't know, for who you were back then, for how hard it all was. Carry the lesson, not the shame. Regret will visit. That's inevitable. but it doesn't get to stay in charge. You do. So if regret has been visiting you more often these days, when the house is quiet or the nights stretch long, know that you're not alone. We all go through it. We all have those moments when something we said or didn't say, something we did or didn't do, finds its way back to us. It doesn't mean you're broken. It means you care. It means you're still growing even now. The goal isn't to erase regret. It's to let it reshape you into someone softer, deeper, more real. And here's something beautiful. When you own your regrets, they stop owning you. They lose their grip. They become part of your story, not the whole story. You might even find that the very places where you feel the most regret are the same places where you now carry the most wisdom. Because you've lived it. You've felt the weight of your choices. And now you can offer others, and yourself, a kind of grace that only comes from experience. So if there's something you wish you could change, don't wait for a perfect moment. Write the letter, make the call, speak the truth, hold someone's hand and say, I'm sorry, or I miss you, or even just, I'm here now. And if no one else is there to receive it, write it anyway. Say it anyway. Healing begins when you show up for yourself. Your story isn't done, and regret doesn't get to be the final word. What comes next? That's still yours to decide. So take a deep breath. Look back only long enough to learn. Then turn toward what's ahead and walk forward. Lighter, freer, more whole than before. So Etmanofak, if you're still here with me, thank you. Thank you for listening, not just to my words, but maybe to something deeper inside yourself. A quiet voice that says, there's still more life in me, still more to feel, still more to give. Aging doesn't mean ending. It means arriving at a place where your wisdom finally meets your courage. Whatever regrets you carry, whatever dreams you still hold, whatever stories remain untold, this is not the end of your story. It's just a different chapter, and maybe the most meaningful one yet. So go gently, go bravely, and never forget, you still matter. More than you know. If this video spoke to you, leave a comment below and tell me one thing you're choosing to carry forward, or finally let go of. Your words might be the very thing someone else needed to hear today. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe to the channel. It's a small action, but it means a lot. It helps us keep sharing real stories, honest reflections, and reminders that aging can be beautiful. Thanks for spending this time with me. And until next time, take care of that gentle soul of yours.